This night that I have ever done a post-game show when we are not talking about the postseason, as we are around, let's just take a look, 11:50 p.m. But thank you so much for joining us either tonight or perhaps tomorrow.
It's more fun to hang out with us at this time of night than to go out to establishments or whatever, right? And even if you are, I'm sure you're sitting in your favorite establishment watching the show on a cell phone. We appreciate it.
That's right, absolutely. 4-1 Winnipeg Jets winners tonight over the Chicago Blackhawks in their first game back after the All-Star and player break. An important 2 points for the Jets, getting things on the right foot. We are going to take you into the dressing room shortly to hear from Jets players. We are also looking forward to having Kyle Connor join us as well. So without further ado, let's bring him on right now, because here is Kyle Connor. And Kyle, you came out so quickly, obviously probably anxious to go home like the rest of us for it. Kyle, when you look at this game here tonight, for the first game back in particular for this group, the late start as well, did you like what you saw in terms of overall play and system play?
Yeah, I thought we did a good job, came out strong. Obviously got the lead there. Had a couple big penalty kills. It's obviously a pretty dangerous power play they got over there. So that gave us some momentum, and had a 5-on-3. We were lucky to capitalize. That was big. We just kind of stuck with it. They had a little bit of a push. We knew they would in the third there, and didn't waver. Needed some saves, and we got them from Hellebuyck. And overall, great team win.
I consumed a lot of coffee, Kyle, in order to be able to stay awake at this point in time. We know what players are like in terms of wanting to have their routine going at all. How did you adjust it? Was it a later nap today, a longer nap? How did you deal with it for the late start?
Yeah, not too bad. Just kind of slid everything 2 hours. We had a little bit later of a morning skate, so that helped. After that, just, got a nap in, and hung out, watched some golf, the waste management. Got to the rink, and it's all business. So we're professionals. This is a pretty late game, but once we're in and around the rink, we got up for this one, especially not playing for a while. I think everybody had showed in our start. We had some good jump.
Always being able to catch a little bit of that round of golf is never a bad thing. It is certainly a positive when you look at at this game. So let's talk a little bit and just quickly about the start. There'd been talk about, obviously having the player break, being able to come back into it. How important do you think that break could be for this group to be able to push through for these final 30 games and really get into that momentum and where you guys want to be when the postseason rolls around?
Yeah, it's nice. Get a little break. I think the biggest thing is mentally. You kind of get away from the game, kind of regroup. If anybody's got taxing injuries, anything lingering, kind of just rest, kick the feet up, don't have to stress about it the day in, day out. And I think we come back a motivated group. We know what type of team we have. We know the capabilities. And, nothing short of a good playoff run is, obviously our expectation here.
All right. Thanks so much. Appreciate the time, Kyle.
Thank you.
Nowhere near as attractive or cool as Kyle Connor next to you. What a quick change that is.
You need the flow.
I know, it's unbelievable.
We're going to talk maybe about, I don't know. Look at that growth, the hair a little bit.
My wife's like, showing me different haircuts that I could get and everything, and I'm just like, yeah, but everybody else has flow and looks really cool. I probably wouldn't, but
No, cool, definitely. All right, we heard Kyle talk about the coming back in and from the break, being able, that mental break for them, which is probably just as important as well. And we'll get to the game in a moment. But just when you look at this group over the last couple of days as well, being back, practicing on Thursday, Friday, they had the game here tonight. Do you see the energy returning to the group? Because they had played a lot of hockey in a condensed period of time heading in.
Yeah, I think you certainly saw it, especially in the opening 7 minutes. They just came out absolutely flying, and Pierre-Luc Dubois, like the moment that stands out to me is Pierre-Luc Dubois, the wrist shot off the rush, knocks Peter Mrazek's mask off, the first of 3 times it happened to the poor guy tonight. But they were quick, they were on pucks, they were moving, and when they're moving their feet, all those seam plays are open, they make it look so easy. And then of course Chicago's going to have their pushback as they did throughout the game, but you could definitely see, I think, the rest doing everything that the Winnipeg Jets hoped that it would do for them in terms of health, number one, but also in terms of just getting some speed back in their game, getting their legs back under them, and playing a style of game that I think they're much more used to playing instead of, playing their 15th game in 16 nights or whatever, something ridiculous like that, and trying to figure out a way to play with speed given that schedule. So it was sensational to see them back at that speed.
Well, and I wondered so we're waiting for the first goal. It happens in the second period. I mean, just picking up where he left off, Josh Morrissey, we know the impact that he made in that win in St. Louis, that final game here at Canada Life Center, where there was so much talk about how he really dragged the team along with him. We saw the emotion in the 2 goals that he had in that game, and then he kept it going fresh off the All-Star appearance and his break as well to get things going here tonight. Yeah,
just a real, All-Star style of goal. This toe drag is something else. And then he just literally just used his body position to be able to get this backhand off. And, his first of 2 points tonight, he gets an assist a little bit later on too. So it's his 44th assist, fitting, nice number. And that ties him with Toby Enstrom for the franchise, for the most among defensemen in a season in franchise history. So he's knocking on the door of Dustin Byfuglien's points record. I think he's one short of tying Dustin Byfuglien in that regard. But Josh Morrissey, just a nice deep breath at the end of a long shift there, but sensational play from Josh Morrissey and a great goal to cap it off as well.
Yeah, I just love the emotion that we're seeing from Josh as well. I mean, after loves scoring, loves the offensive production, but to be able to see that emotion on the bench as well is great. All right, another player that had a great game, Connor Hellebuyck. We are certainly used to saying that here on this post-game show. Let's head into the dressing room and hear from number 37.
What's your overall assessment of your first game back after the break?
I thought we played a good team game. I think everyone brought their A game, and our details were right tonight.
Was there a sense of rust or a sense of pace right off the hop? What did you think of your start?
I thought we were good. I thought our pace was good, and I think our details were good.
Four goals from your guys went into the empty net, but I'll ask you about the one that got by. What did that hit in front, and what did you see in that diving play?
Yeah, it was a good screen. I believe it hit a skate and then just popped over perfectly, and I just missed the scoop. So going down made me a little bit behind it.
It seemed like you got a little busier in the third there, Connor. You guys obviously had the 3-goal lead. Did you feel like maybe you took the foot off the gas a little bit and they got some momentum from their goal?
They might have got a little bit of momentum, but I don't think we took the foot off the gas at all. We did just have a long break, and we're getting our legs under us. But I thought it was a good 60. They got some good scores over there, and we got to imagine they're going to push back at some point, so that was their push.
We know you're on record as saying you love afternoon games, so by extension, what do you think of 9 p.m. games?
Hate them. They don't belong here. I'm not going to be able to get any sleep tonight.
What do you think of the crowd tonight, Connor? It seemed like they were really fired up there after your second period first.
Yeah, they really brought it tonight. Maybe it was the $6 beers before game time. I don't know. They really brought it tonight, though. It was awesome to feel that.
Talked about obviously the inevitable rust to shake off. It seemed like you guys had a really strong pace to begin with, but special teams kind of helped out too, and that was an area that would alleviate maybe any fatigue or whatever from the break. But I think you went 1 for 3 on the power play and perfect on the PK. How important is that?
Well, it's huge, especially this time of year. You win and lose games like that, and that's playoff hockey right there.
Connor, that Blake goal ended up being Mark Scheifele's goal ended up being the winner, and it looked like sort of vintage Scheifele and Wheeler there. I mean, I know you're at the other end, but when you see those guys kind of zip the puck around the way they did, what were you thinking on that one?
It's awesome. It's just so fun to watch them play, especially when they're feeling it and their confidence levels are high, and there's no beating them, and they do things like that. But what I love most about their games is they're not forcing that every second. They're waiting for their moments and they're jumping on them.
What did you see when Peter Mrazek keeps shaking his mask off or what have you? I mean, I don't know a lot about how the helmet works there. What did you see on those plays?
Well, it's hard to see if his strap was undone, but if his strap's undone, you kind of have to do that, or at least wait till a good moment to flip it off. The refs tell you, wait for a good moment, flip it off, but if both straps go, it's just dangerous. You get hit in the mask again, there's nothing stopping it. Those straps take all the blow.
Also wanted to ask about a hard play. Dylan Sandberg shot block. Seems like you're getting a lot of those in some unfortunate areas from your teammates.
Yeah, he pays the price every night. That's a big part of his game, and he's really good at it.
Blackhawks aren't where they want to be in the standings, but this is a very competitive league, and I know they've liked their game of late. What did you see from their push in the third period?
I think they got a lot of goal scorers over there, and they're pushing the pace on us a little bit and trying to get us on our heels. We didn't break, and that's the NHL right there. You got to weather the storm, and then you take it back to them, which we did.
You know how competitive you are in that crease. I mean, when that third period ramps up, what's going on in your mind? You feel like you're hitting a groove there? You know, it's getting a little more action than maybe through the first two.
Yeah, I guess you could say that a little bit, but I'm just trying to stop everything that comes my way. Doesn't matter the night, doesn't matter the game. That's my goal.
Just a big picture one, Connor. You obviously, your break wasn't as long as maybe some of the other guys, but 30 games here, 29 now over the next 2 months, kind of a sprint to the finish line. Does the mindset change for you and for the team here, kind of heading down the stretch?
We just got to really fine-tune our details and get closer to that playoff style and that playoff hockey. I think we know how to play it, and I think we want to play it, and I think we are playing it. So it's just a matter of fine-tuning it.
Lots to talk about on the heels of Connor Hellebuyck's comments there, including just quickly, this was South Asian Heritage Night here, Canada Life Centre. The energy in this crowd, including at the very end of the game, as we are here, you know, with coffee mugs, trying to pretty much keep our eyes open. There was the wave going with, I think, about 25 seconds left, and certainly lots of energy. He was asked about the crowd, and it was great. He was also asked, and there was discussion about special teams for it. There had been discussion going in. Now, there were changes made to the power play, and his power play was suffering for it before the break. I think it was at 5% in their previous 5 games heading in, 1 for 20 for it. And so Rick Bowness made some changes to what the power plays look like. And in particular, I mean, we noticed it on Unit 1 with Blake Wheeler going there, but also very much on the second unit. The power play played a role in this game. It was not, although the second unit saw the most change, it was not the second unit, because this probably comes as no surprise. It was the first unit that spent almost the entirety on the power play for it, and that's where Blake Wheeler's goal came from to make it 2-0.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing, that unit wins that opening draw, and they got 139 of 5-on-3 to work with. They don't score on the 5-on-3, but they get to the 5-on-4 portion, and this is the Blake Wheeler goal. Yes, whether it's a stick, whether it's a skate, whatever it may be, his first of 2 goals tonight. But that's a big power play goal for the Jets, who were 1 for 22 on that power play in the last stretch. So certainly a big goal. And obviously they've got so many weapons on this power play that, you know, they can make those types of plays. And against Chicago this year, it was really a weapon that allowed them to sweep the season series against them.
Yeah, so, and you noticed some trends just in what you were seeing in terms of there'd be the setup of the power play, in particular against the Blackhawks in this season series. Yeah,
and as much as, you know, there were some personnel changes and where people were over the course of those power plays changed, but you go back earlier in the year, this is the first game of the season, first matchup between the two teams. This one comes back to Josh Morrissey at the point. So clearly Morrissey's got a shooter's mentality this year. He's going to take that shot from the point. Teams know that, right? So now all of a sudden you can't necessarily just collapse down. So what do? They try to stay a little bit higher. But what that's going to do is it's going to allow Kyle Connor to get nice and open, and well, we know how that goes.
Yeah, it doesn't often miss from there.
Exactly. So with those types of threats, and you can look on the other side of the ice as well with Mark Scheifele, who's a one-timer threat on that side as well. That's what kind of led to those changes. Nikolai Ehlers likes to come down on that strong side, but Mark Scheifele likes to be a one-timer on that side. They tried it out. That wasn't really working for them. And now you see they make the change like we talked about a little bit earlier. And now they've got these one-timer options on both sides. But when you're able to make, you know, penalty killers come out to you if you're Josh Morrissey, or move over to you if you're Kyle Connor, you've got options everywhere. And eventually, once they start to bite on one, another line opens up, and now you're seeing Kyle Connor use that slap pass a little bit more often.
I thought it was interesting to hear Rick Bowness when asked about the power play and the changes to the units, because there was a lot of people that look and go, Nikolai Ehlers down on the second power play unit. You know, what are they doing for it? And this was, but I thought it was interesting the way that Rick Bowness explained it.
Yeah, exactly. But like ultimately, like he said, it just comes down to shots and what hand people shoot. It's a little bit more of an open option if the guy's a right-handed player for Josh Morrissey at the top of that point to be able to make that pass a little bit easier. Yes, it also becomes a one-timer. And Nikolai Ehlers, like we said, likes to play on that strong side. He likes to, you know, come up to the top of the zone, work his way back in, and you know, he'll certainly get a number of opportunities to do that with that second unit. And now it also, I think, levels out the two units too. You know, you're not necessarily overloaded. And I mean, you have Nikolai Ehlers, the damage that he does on that second unit, he's also really good at entering the zone. So, and that's not to say that anything's permanent either. You'll always make adjustments.
Absolutely. Something we've certainly seen from Rick Bowness throughout this season, whether it be 5-on-5 or with the man advantage. And speaking of the head coach, let's head inside the Matt Frost Media Center.
We settled down and got going going north again. And so I was really happy with the end of the period, not so much the first 10, 12 minutes.
What do you attribute the third to? Is that weird time? Is that just trends from the team?
The time, I just think, we just lost momentum. We just rusty, whatever you want to, just a combination of things. But we just stopped playing Winnipeg Jet hockey.
Power play gets one though, and that's big. I assume you look at that as a big moment in the game, just to have
that was an important game and important goal for us to get the power play going. The penalty killers, they were, I think Helly was our best penalty killer tonight, so they were really moving that puck around. And give them credit for that. But the specialty teams did the job tonight, and that was a huge power play goal for us. So it kind of, when the goalie lost his mask, it gave those guys a chance to catch their breath. Because if he doesn't lose his mask, we're probably putting the next unit up, right? But we had that break, and we kept them on the ice, and it paid off.
What did you see from Mason Appleton, Rick? Obviously, you gave him a bump in the third.
No, he was good. I was just talking to him now, coming in here. His legs are good. His wind was good. Again, you haven't played in 3 months. The timing, the reads, the speed of the game. But I thought he was really good. I think it shows you his importance to our team.
And then Cole didn't play in the last 8-18. I know he had 4 shifts over a minute. Was shift length part
Pardon
of it
me?
with Perfetti?
Yeah.
He didn't play in the last 8-18 or so?
No, we shortened the bench a little bit and put Apple out there, a couple of shifts for him. Yep.
Was shift length an issue too? I noticed he had four shifts over a minute.
No. Just got caught out in the ice a couple times.
Okay.
Just one on Blake, Rick. I think he's now up to 40 points in 44 games. Older players, this break, could it benefit a player like Blake maybe more than some other guys just to get that time away and a breather?
Yeah, I think so, for sure. Kennedy, we know how busy the schedule was leading up to the break, so a lot of guys needed it, but I think the older you get in the league, the more rest you can get, the better. And he's skating really well tonight, and obviously played a great game for us.
Yeah, and obviously Blake and Mark, they've played apart for stretches of this season. You've put them back together now, and we saw some of that chemistry that those guys have, just the ability to kind of find each other. Blake, especially finding Mark, it's kind of vintage.
Yeah, and Nick gives them a lot of speed on that left side as well. So again, we'd like to keep those lines together for a while. I like the looks of them, and just
You mentioned in talking about Connor Hellebuyck, just the idea of timely saves. It felt like that third period, you need your goalie big time, and he I won't say bailed you out, but certainly supported.
He did. He made some huge saves, and after they scored that first goal, you knew they were going to make a big push. They were coming, and so we bent a little bit too much, and when you bend a little bit too much like that, you need big saves, and Helly certainly did that for us tonight.
We talked a lot about Josh Morrissey this season, and for good reason. Propels you in that comeback against St. Louis in the 4-2, scores that goal early in the second period. Is there something to be said about timely saves, timely goals, knack for coming up big?
We got out of that first period again. We weren't happy with the way we finished the period, so it was huge to get that goal to give us a boost and get us going again. And Mo steps up again and makes the big play. It was a hell of a play and a great goal.
This last one for me. All wins count for the same amount of points, but coming back from the break, having those conversations about the importance of these last 30 games, how important was it to start off on a strong foot?
Well, it was very important because, as I mentioned this morning, I've watched a lot of the first periods of the games coming back, the teams that haven't played against the teams that have played, and there's a big difference in the game. So for us to come out and win this game tonight, now I know they played last night, but it was their third game, but they're coming off a break too, so they were rested. A back-to-back at this point for them wouldn't be, especially with the 9 o'clock start. So for us to come out and get 2 points out of a game that listen, it was going to be a battle, and it was, and they made it hard for us in that third period and the last half of the first. But so it just, we needed the 2 points. Bottom line is we got them, and now we get ready for Seattle. Thanks.
Seattle, the next game, that one coming up on Tuesday. He spoke about a number of different topics there. You look at one of the things he said about first periods and going against teams that have played, or what is seen, this was Chicago's third game in 5 nights since coming off the break, including an overtime win last night against Arizona for it. This group now, to continue to see them play the way that they have, and to see some of, I mean, we heard the vintage comment about Mark Scheifele and Blake Wheeler. Let's see it. You know, if we had had time, this was going to be our highlight of the night. We had 4 goals from the Jets, 2 goals from Blake Wheeler, 1 from Josh Morrissey, and this one from Mark Scheifele, which was an absolute beauty. And it was that passing play that, I mean, how many times have we seen that since Scheifele entered the league with those 2?
Yeah, it got to a point, you know, a couple of years ago where you could just see it coming. Also, shout out Neil Pionk. I know he's American, but that was very Mario Lemieux Salt Lake Olympics. That was the vibe I got out of that one. Either way, but yeah, I was saying, you know, there was a couple of seasons there where you could see a rush play like that develop, and you could almost tell exactly how this was all going to go. And if I can tell, the opposition can tell, and still they're able to make those plays. That just shows kind of how special some of the plays are that they make, and Scheifele obviously makes no mistake. He's on a real tear goal scoring wise this year.
Yeah, look at, so that is it for the season series against the Chicago Blackhawks. Jets winning all 4, outscoring them 18-4 throughout the series, including 8-1 here at Canada Life Centre, 4-1 being the final of this game here tonight. The next game, as I mentioned, Tuesday, Valentine's Day. If you do not have your Valentine's Day gift purchase yet, I mean, what could be better than this one?
An absolute clash of 2 of the best teams in the Western Conference. I mean, what more could you give your significant other?
What more could you ask? Have some chocolates maybe beforehand, have some wine when you get here, a beer. It's against the Seattle Kraken. Final meeting of the regular season between the 2. You can take a look at all of the different stats that we have there regarding this matchup for it, but it should be another good one.
Yeah, absolutely. The 2 previous meetings this year have all been really close games between the 2 squads. So just like I said, 2 of the great teams in the Western Conference, and not a lot of easy ice out there. So certainly going to be a game that you'll want to be here for.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. I mentioned South Asian Heritage Night tonight here at Canada Life Centre. It was a great night for it. Got some highlights for you just as you take a look at some of the difference. Monica Diol, I don't know if you remember Monica Diol. She was a staple. You don't. I could tell from it. This is what happens when everyone's so much younger. For it, Monica Diol, a staple from Much Music days for it, but just great entertainment, as I mentioned beforehand. Great atmosphere as well, merchandise, just so many, a great logo that was done with it. It was a night that kept everybody engaged in it. Obviously, what the success that the Jets had on the ice playing the biggest factor in it, but the crowd was certainly into it.
Going early, and you could tell even from anthems, which Monica sang very well. You could tell even when they're involved in the American anthem, and then, you know, that you get into the Canadian one, it was, you could tell from that moment that they were going to be bringing the energy for the Jets at the start of the game. And they carried it. Like you said, we're past midnight now. And I think even like 10 minutes ago, we heard someone yell from the suites.
So
they're still going.
Did. For it. No, I don't think that I would necessarily be on board for a lot of 9 p.m. local starts. But the people here tonight certainly started their Saturday evening off early. They kept it going, and they were able to witness the 4-1 win. So we'll see whether or not the Winnipeg Jets are able to keep it going on Tuesday. I believe you're with me for that one as well. So looking forward to it. Hope that you will join us as well. We are going to do a slightly abbreviated version tonight because we are barely staying awake and we want to go home and go to sleep. So I hope everyone enjoys the rest of your weekend, and we will see you on Tuesday.